Welcome to Black Love Matters, where this serves a therapy session for figuring out adulthood,
loving each other,
and find our inner Brock and Michelle.
Or Jay-Z and Beyonce. Or this week, Nerum said we don't got no or. Because Nerum being a hating ass Nerum.
Ain't nobody hating.
Nerum's like, we got the theme episode, we're not doing or. I was like, oh, well, we should have some folks related to the theme as the or. And what Grumpy Nerum say?
You can find one.
Well, but this was his episode. Like, someone reached out to him and said they wanted it. And Nerum was like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to do a deep dive into it. I take care of Nayam. The only thing you got to do is show up.
Yeah.
I show up, look at the little show notes, our little piece of Post-it note. We don't do too much. It's a piece of Post-it note. And I said, well, who are or Nerums?
And I said, we ain't got to have one. You could just say Jay-Z and Beyonce, and who is you?
Is that what you want? Nerum Toucher, you say I go down a rabbit hole too much with those.
You do. You spend a lot of bandwidth looking for a black couple.
Why? What's wrong with that?
I'm just saying, you spend a lot of bandwidth.
I was trying to see who was the Peanut Man.
George Washington Carver.
Why? We were like looking at the like prestigious black, legendary, iconic academics, and why none of them married?
You know,
or ended in divorce. Can we talk about how all the black academics either never were married or ended in divorce multiple times?
I'm gonna say academics. Period.
You think that's just an academic period?
Most of their ass end up in divorce.
Divorce or never married, and they always had that lone kid at 60.
Right.
They had their first child at 60.
Mm-hmm.
That's heavy in academia. Like, some of these women and men come out, I'm having my first kid. You be like, how old is you, 70? That's just that hard academic life.
Right.
Anyway, who is you?
I'm Nero.
And I'm Nyambi.
And this is episode 175.
Hey, 175.
Be sure to leave a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and on Stitcher, and follow us on all forms of social media at Black Love Matters. It's Black and Okay. How you doing?
I'm good. I like to ask the folks how they Wednesday coming. After a holiday week, ain't that week always hard?
It is.
I was at work, and y'all know I love my job, honey. But I was at work. I even looked with a colleague. You know how we just looked at each other?
Mm-hmm.
And she was fool. She said, what's today, Thursday? I said, sis, it's Tuesday. She said, what? I said, yeah, we still got a lot of more days. And mind you, my company's flexible, and it's an amazing place to work. So I only can imagine y'all cubicle warriors who hate where y'all at. It's probably still Monday.
Right.
Have you looked up and been like, what in the world? Like, it was. And I don't know what it was, but it was something.
For people who hate their jobs, every day is Monday, except for Friday.
You say, well, people hate their job, every day is Friday.
Every day is Monday except for Friday.
I mean, even in the jobs you love the most, there's weeks where you like, this is some bullshit. Nero was teasing me because I was listening to a podcast. What was it called? Like, it's about managing. Maybe we should share it with you. It might be good for y'all to listen to. And this, but basically how to be a good manager, like workplace rules, unspoken rules of the workplace, like navigating through that. And this episode was, what was it? Like, not having a boss.
Yeah,
so
like
our
not
boss
having a boss.
Basically, no, I haven't been lost a job again. Wait, I'm a manager. That's what my job is, right? So now I have. That's why I really wanted to listen. Like, oh, they trying to get rid of me, honey. What is this? But like the idea, like, do we really need jobs and managers? And what company was it with the fake meat? Morningstar. I didn't even notice they making me. Y'all check out Morningstar too. Morningstars don't have like middle management. Like there's no middle person, or like there's no managers, right? And when they were interviewing folks to be like, well, who is your manager? How do you work through this day? And they're like, well, the mission of our company is my manager. I'm like, y'all better shut up, old robot self. I like that though. But,
well, how do I get hired there then?
I was thinking like that is good, meaning that they have a lot of flexibility. Like, so with a manager, you're like requesting days off and work flexibility and doing certain things. And I'm assuming this is more on the corporate end of it. So I'm assuming if you like at the plant where you're actually making the food, it doesn't work that way. But at the corporate level, they don't have any middle management. So they have a very flat structure, looks like it.
Right.
Whereas a lot of like program management and stuff. And I thought that was super interesting. And it made me look into Morningstar to be like, child, they going to allow my pork eating stuff to go? But they don't have to worry about me asking for no discounts. Nyambi, would you like to try our Nope. You keep that crumbled beef. Although the meatless beef at Trader Joe's is bomb.
It is.
What is called that? It's meatless beef crumbles.
Yeah.
And it's in the cold section. It does taste like ground beef. It probably is.
I can't with you.
But so I was just thinking about that philosophy. Like, how do you navigate that? But I think, are you researching what Morningstar meat is?
It's vegetables, baby.
Allegedly. Is that? Never mind. We're not. This is what Nero talking about. I go down rabbit holes.
You do?
But we were just talking about, like, I was listening on a podcast, and that was something interesting. So I know some of y'all be asking what we listen to. Like, of course I listen to read all my other stuff too, but I do a little professional development. I have to stay up to date on what the colonizers is talking about. And whenever I see they talking about me or something I do, I need to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's super. And then they also talked about entrepreneurship and what does it mean, that side of not having a boss. So that was more the corporate, kind of ripping out the traditional section of reporting to your boss, one-on-ones, like that doesn't exist. Who your boss is the mission. This is your mission. These are your goals. You just need to follow it. If you can't follow it, then you go. Like, even that, because they talked about their hiring and firing process, to say it's like a committee of peers. Mm-hmm. So there's like, what happens if someone needs to be fired? They say they meet amongst the community of peers, right? No need to come amongst his peers unless something's going on. And if you're working collaboratively, like our mission says, you should know these people.
I have a question for you.
What?
This is random. Did you drink any coffee today?
I did.
Okay.
I had coffee about 2:30 today.
Oh, okay.
I had a cup of coffee at 9. I had a cup of coffee at 9:30 a.m. and I had a cup of coffee at 2:30.
You had that too?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Why? Can you tell?
Yes.
Why?
Because
how? Oh, I be running a mile a minute to my employees, huh?
That mouth is just running so fast that with these headphones on, I'm barely starting to pick. I barely can keep up with it. You already talk fast.
Yeah. I'm gone now. And my manager actually talks fast too. So can you imagine both of us in a room leading a meeting? What does our team think about us?
Oh my God, what cups of coffee inside of y'all?
You met my manager, so imagine her on coffee, me on coffee, then what?
You done had 2 cups?
I had 2 cups of coffee.
Ooh.
I did the second cup of coffee to suppress my appetite. Because I'm learning coffee suppresses my appetite. Is that a thing, or am I making that up?
Coffee is.
When I drink coffee, I'm no longer hungry.
Okay.
And I wanted to eat. They had some cupcakes in there, and I said, Satan, get behind me. And I said, Lord, come help me. And I feel like the Lord whispered, go get some coffee. And I said, okay, Jesus. My check-in?
You turned into a different woman.
You can really tell y'all can tell I'm on coffee.
Because somebody on Twitter mentioned, like, Nyambi, slow down.
Okay, well, let me slow down. My check-in.
Oh, okay.
I don't have much. Work is going great. Still doing reviews, honey. That ain't gonna be done in next year. Are you picking up receipts?
Yeah. Nyambi got to slow down sometimes. I think I have fast forward on what she talk. It's because Nyambi off that coffee, and she knows she's caffeine sensitive. So 1 cup should have been enough, but instead.
My mother said that too. My mom was like, "Oh, I thought I hit the fast forward button, but then I realized I wouldn't because I guess she went to slow it down. It slowed it down, but then you were talking too slow." My check-in. I'll be brief. John Legend is the first black man to get an EGOT. Congratulations to him. Do you know what an EGOT is?
No, I'm Googling it now.
It is an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony.
Oh.
So being, to all the creatives out there, especially that's in like the performance arts, it's a huge accomplishment because not many people can do it. That means you can do it all, right? So that means you can act, you can sing, you can perform. Like, shout out to John Legend. And if I actually thought about folks who, like, I shouldn't say deserving, right? Who am I to judge, right? But someone who's been dynamic in their career or just consistent, right? Just pushing forward, I will put John Legend up there. Don't get me wrong, John Legend has his sleepy moments. But when it comes to consistent work, he did it. I think it was that Jesus Christ Superstar he did that got him his last part. I don't know if it was an Emmy or a Tony that he won for that. I think maybe it was a Tony that he won that for, and that what set him on the edge, right? That showed his breadth of, talent. Right? Jesus Christ Superstar wasn't my testimony, but I still watched it, but I could appreciate the art in it. Does that make sense? Like, it wasn't something that like, ooh, this is life-changing, earth-shattering or anything, but John put in work. And the folks who was in it, and also the guy from Power was in it.
Yeah.
Oh, silver ass.
Silver.
And he put in work too, right? Like, you can see when folks are serious about their craft because it doesn't even matter, right? Like how I felt about it personally, but it's like you just have to put respect on their name, right? Like I said, it didn't speak to me, like it wasn't earth-shattering to me, but you can see when folks are good at what they do. And I'm happy for John Legend. I'm happy for John Legend. I'm happy for him and his wife. I'm happy for his children. Like, I think it was a win for the community. What you think about that, Nero? Being a creative.
Well, I think it's a GOAT. I think he's a GOAT.
Yeah.
I strive to have something like that. Probably won't never happen.
You want to get an EGOT?
I just won a podcast award.
Are those the thing?
Yeah.
What are the podcast awards?
I don't know. I'm just
Okay,
making
well,
some shit
first
up.
I think I'm sure they're podcast
Well, you know,
awards.
BET had that social media award shit.
I don't think that's the same. Oh, did they have a podcast
Yeah,
category?
yeah,
I thought you were
podcast
talking about like the Instagram influencers. Like, I think that's a little different. Like
You know.
Instagram comedians.
Yeah, but you know, it really shows that he's a GOAT,
I'm excited for him.
right?
But thinking about the podcast, when is that going to make it more mainstream? There isn't any. Like, would that be on the Tonys? No, that's television or
Well,
radio.
They got a lot of things to go through to even get there. Because like, first you need a governing board.
Fine, we'll get all that. Ain't the girl did it? Barry, the Black Podcasters Unite. What's it called?
No, podcast of color.
Yeah, we already got one. Next. I'll sit on the board. What do y'all need me to do? What are we paying dues? What are we got it. You making see you then let the colonizers get in your head, because I'm sure that's exactly how the Oscars started. A group of people that was like, oh, that's us. So what is the young lady who does it?
Barry.
Barry is the president. Okay.
Okay.
And then all the other podcasters, everyone have a seat, right? We just rotate. Okay, what else do you need? We got that.
Okay. We need a platform. We need
Twitter.
sponsors.
Got that. Didn't you see HelloFresh, Talkspace? You know, they love us blacks Forum. I said, damn, we don't need no more grocery subscriptions. Maxed out. No more talk. You know what they tell us about Talkspace? I said, we need real therapy. Let me stop. It is real therapy. But everyone should know that Talkspace is not your platform, because I only can imagine what them folks be texting them therapists lying. Just lying.
Mm-hmm.
But, what else, Nero?
I forgot you was talking so fast.
So y'all going to judge me really for talking fast?
No.
I'm going to slow it down then. It's hard for me. I was talking about this with my manager too. It's almost restraining for me to talk at this pace.
No, talk at the speed, baby.
And to think about, I just realized I never think about what I say. I don't think about it. Like, even now, I'm trying to think about every word I say before I say it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
This has to subtract years from your life
You think
to
so?
restrain yourself like that.
And then you also own 2 cups of coffee.
No, I've always talked fast. Coffee
Yeah.
or no coffee.
I understand that, but that coffee is like 3 times the speed.
Maybe that's a skill I really need to learn.
What?
To think a little more before I speak.
Mm-hmm.
But I can really say it is hard for me to stop because I have so much an instant reaction to it. You do that more. How does that work for you? Like, are you really, like, what is the internal dialogue that's happening? Or am I not supposed to physically have an internal dialogue? I'm like a baby girl from Insecure, and when she's talking about stop laughing, and I'm like, stop all that laughing. Like, I feel like that's how the dialogue is going. What's her name? The thicker girl from Insecure.
Oh, I can't remember.
Where she got the edibles. Like, I feel like this is this process for me when I have to slow down.
No, I really think it isn't like an inner dialogue.
Really?
Yeah.
And also, you know what happens when I stop? I be forgetting what I was going to say.
Oh.
Because the thoughts be so fleeting. Like, you're like, oh, that's gone. It's like my thoughts get tired.
How your thoughts get
It's like
tired?
my thoughts be like, sis, you ain't listen. Fine, fuck it. And I'm like, what was I about to say?
You ain't said that already? I'm on to the next thought.
No, but that's good feedback. I'm going to try to do that more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I stole my update. It's a Black Miss America. Shout out to that. Shout out to Miss Michigan, who was like, I'm from Michigan, where we have the largest freshwater source, but only a percentage of our folks can use it. Thank
It's
you.
true.
I said, damn. I said, this ain't your mama and daddy, Miss America. Come on, sis, come up front. Well, I love this. It reminds me of, like, you know how the housewives come on?
Mm-hmm.
And they be like, hi, my name is so-and-so. I do this. But it be shady.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do for Miss America now.
Yeah.
But she spoke a word.
It's the truth, though.
Mm-hmm.
We said it a long time ago, though,
Yeah.
that we have like the largest fresh.
The waters taste amazing.
It does.
If you can get a clean pipe. It is. Like, it's really
I even think the spring water from here, from California,
Tastes
tastes
weird.
a little off.
I want to filter that. Want to run that through the Brita. Like, this water, it don't taste consistent. I think maybe that's the complaint I have about California. The water don't taste consistent.
No.
I'm scared to drink the water from my apartment.
I know you are. I don't know why.
I got to call Culligan and
You keep talking about calling
to come bring me a whole picture of it.
Oh.
But the water tastes different. And being from Michigan, we were very, very lucky. Like, even the Michigan places with well water tastes better than some of the places I've been to.
Yes, I agree.
Especially if it's cold. And I think it tastes good because it tastes like nothing. Like, that's how it was like, well, how does Michigan water taste? Like air, like nothing. And you don't realize that till you go to a place you like.
And you be like, what the
What
hell?
is that?
Why does
It tastes like old grease.
it tastes metally?
What we eating? It tastes like poison.
Look, does this water have a smell?
What? So it is something to that. All right, Nerums, what's going on with you? What's your check-in?
I ain't really got much going on. I'm actually just trying to stay low key because my best friend's twin brother passed last night.
Yeah, sad.
Yeah, so just going through that because I got the text message like, yeah, we don't know if he's gonna be here long or not. And I called my best friend and had a conversation with him, and it was like 2 hours later, and he's like he's gone.
Yeah, I remember when you told me. I was like, I thought you said he was just sick.
I was like, damn. So just thinking about that, sending condolences to my homeboy and just trying to figure out like if I'm gonna be able to make it to Detroit, especially in a situation, in a one income household that I don't even know it's gonna be feasible for me to get to Detroit in that short of time because the service is on Monday.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What was today?
Today is
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday night.
That's still fast for African Americans.
Yes, it's very fast for African Americans. So, just thinking about that and, just trying to figure out like how I can support him from a distance.
Yeah. It might even be something, well, you know what I believe in, but it might even be having him come out here in a couple months. So, from having friends who went through similar things or thinking about it myself when I have lost. It's not necessarily about the folks who are there immediately in that moment, although that's important. It's kind of those quiet moments 2 to 3 months later down the road where you just kind of bust down in tears and you don't even know why. And you almost need someone else to be like, you grieving, baby. Like,
right.
And that's okay, right? So
yeah, even thinking about that because, like I said, he was also one of my roommates in undergrad. So I found out another one of my roommates stay out here. So even just trying to coordinate something where we can get him out here or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be nice in that way. Yeah, like that's why I think that might be good if you can't make it home to do something like that to say, we gotta. But in situations like that, you almost gotta be like, well, this week is the week I'm thinking.
Right.
I love my black people, but you gotta be like, I put my money on this. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my money. I'm putting my money, because I feel like we'd be like, yeah, we can't have folks wasting their money and all stuff like that. Niram actually was teasing me because people who are close to me know that whenever folks lose someone, I believe in sending a card, right? But if you're close to me, or in flowers, of course, right? If some family don't have flowers and stuff at their funeral, but definitely a card, right? But if you're close, like immediate family, so if like you a spouse or a child or something like that, I feel like it's me. I need to send food. Is that a weird thing? Darren was like, that is so a you thing, to the point where every time something like this happens, I was like, oh, I gotta send a ham or lasagna, and Darren be like, what is
all right, man, I'll be asked, Darren, get his address so we can send him a honey baked ham.
Yeah, I was like, give it to me.
What?
And he was like, what are
people do that?
Isn't that a norm I thought that was a norm in our black culture.
And you looked at me like your mama ain't never. No.
To send, like when you send to the grieving, right? And if you're local, you're supposed to make something with your hands. And my thing is, when I'm local, what I do is do like a lasagna because you can adjust it to dietary needs. So if they're vegetarian, they, have gluten allergies, you can use egg noodles. If they only eat chicken, you can do a chicken one. If they do seafood, you can do seafood one. You can do a veggie. Like, it's super flexible. And then you just get you a box of Hawaiian rolls and throw it on top and let it go. For sweets, I don't like to get pies or nothing. Because people, the blood sugar, Annie and them visit, they got diabetes. I like to cut up fresh fruit.
Honey baked ham send a whole damn turkey.
Yes. Honey baked ham, you can send a whole turkey, or you can send a whole meal through honey baked ham. I've sent whole meals through honey baked ham. Like, it'll be the ham, 2 sides, rolls, and dessert. And I do the honey baked ham when I'm long distance because sometimes folks get almost too many people coming, right? Like sometimes folks get like too much food and they can't handle it. They end up throwing out stuff. That way, when you get my ham, a ham is a ham is a ham. You just throw that bad baby in the freezer and you can pull that out for Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you don't got enough food, you can stretch ham, right? You can stretch ham, get you some Hawaiian rolls, some bread, and make you some slider. Come on. Chop it up, put it in a chopped salad.
Yeah.
And then you save the bone for some lima beans. But I don't know. Niram always look at me like I'm crazy. I said, people be appreciating that ham.
Well, maybe we gonna send them a ham because I just never heard about it.
What?
I'm speaking the truth.
And Honey Baked Ham got decent food.
They got beef Wellington and shit.
Why is Niram on the website?
Because, we gonna send them a rack of pork chops.
I don't know about that. That now, Niram, I don't know if I'm about to send a rack of pork chops in the middle. That's an overpriced pork chop too. At least a ham, I pay $60, $70. I know 1,000 people can eat off a 10-pound ham.
We're gonna send them a rack of pork chops and a couple Cornish hens.
Come on, Niram. What else is your update? But y'all let us know. Do y'all send anything or get food? Am I weird for sending a honey baked ham?
I just never heard of it before.
Or better yet, how would y'all feel if you got a honey baked ham in the mail with deepest sympathies?
Oh, I'd be eating that shit up.
What? Because you eat it raw? Like, I'm not raw, but you eat it cold right out the box. Eat it. Mm-hmm. What else going on with you?
That's about it. Just staying low key. Still working on this job stuff, trying to get that out there.
I love honey baked ham. I'm sorry to keep going back. Do you know that crust? There's always a competition between honey baked ham and the Dearborn ham for the people in Michigan. Dearborn ham tastes more gingery, but that honey baked ham got that diabetes on top. It's so good. Sorry.
You made me lose train of thought.
Job
stuff. So I've been sending my stuff out, and I got some I got some good feedback.
Oh,
about my resume.
Did you?
Yeah.
From who? Someone I know?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she sent me some feedback. So a lot of feedback. So I'm just going back. No, because one of the things I did because I didn't know. Because one of the things I've been going back and forth, like there's two types of things, like two types of resumes, like from coming from academia to like 9 to 5 ish, and you really sometimes when you teeter in between both worlds, you really don't know what type of resume to send, right?
Yeah.
Like, do I send my full CV with publications?
Tell folks what that is.
My curriculum vitae, which is pretty much everything. This is what academics strive for, to have the world's longest CV. It's just a running Word doc of everything that you've done since undergrad, since getting your first degree.
Yeah.
And it's everything. So the committees you've been a part of, type of research that you've done, publications that you put out, presentations, jobs, everything.
Yeah.
And, for some jobs that might be able to give, like, it's so, like, it gives the breadth and depth of your whole academic background.
Yeah. Yeah. It's helpful sometimes.
And it is helpful. So sometimes I just don't know if it's, I'm unsure whether or not to send that versus just sending like a condensed one.
Mm-hmm.
So, this person gave me a lot of good information about it because I had just sent it to her just to say, hey, this is my CV. This might be able to give you a little bit more background.
Yeah.
And, she had gave me some feedback on that. I started to send both, like, here's my CV and this is the resume I also send out, like, when I go back and forth. So it's just interesting because some places do ask for, like, give me all of your experience since having undergrad.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, shit, well, here you go. And some places like, no, I just want
last 5 years, last 2 years. The way these tech companies play, if you ain't did nothing interesting in 18 months,
right?
They don't want to know what you, they just like, don't come here talking about that old shit.
Right.
That you did 5 years ago. I don't care about that.
So, just think about that. Like, where some places, they only just want jobs that you had that just pertain to
what you did. They don't care about the other stuff. If it does not directly relate, that don't even count. I'm seeing out here where that doesn't even count as years of experience.
Right.
So, initially people like work experience or related. Mm-hmm. But out here, it's so funny to be like, you not about to cross this over.
Right.
And say that your job there relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
And if it don't. Like, I've seen folks get really pissy about that.
Right. So it's just hard to figure out, like, how to navigate that, right?
Yes, company
where culture. It's all these cultures.
Yeah.
You've been teetering back and forth between academia and
industry.
and just trying to figure out how to best do it.
Yeah.
And,
That's interesting.
yeah.
I can't wait to. I'm sure. Well, I'm back to school Friday. Are we gonna talk more about grad school?
Yeah, we're gonna talk more about it. This episode's gonna be more towards like high school.
Oh, the babies.
Yeah, but just thinking about that, and I think one of the tips she just gave me is like, put your education last, and that's something that's crazy. Like when I heard that, it's like, typically I like to see education last, and it's like, what?
Why?
I don't know. It don't matter. Like, because this is the type of person who looks at resumes
for a living.
Like for a living. And she's like, typically I like to see education last.
Well, out here it's a different culture when it comes to education, right? Like I think out here in tech, they like to see certain schools, but at the same time, they don't like. I don't know if this is a place for true academics. Because they're going to do some anti-academic stuff out here.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they don't want to be bothered.
Right.
Like these are the kids who like dropped out in or kicked out of somebody's university for a technicality.
Right.
And you can see a little bit of animosity in the air.
Yeah.
It's like they want the top ones, but it's a certain, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's very, very hard to explain.
Exactly. So just thinking about that, because when I seen that as one of her feedback, like, put your education last. And I was like,
what does
really?
it even look like? Yeah.
Like, what does it exactly? Like, what does it even look like to have a resume where it ain't your name, address, and then education, and then moving on to.
But the area we've been in, right? Education's always been such a priority.
Yeah, education go first.
Or it's almost assumed like everyone got a degree. Like it's getting to that point now. I think when the tech boom or the .com boom first happened, it was very hung up on coming from certain schools or certain areas. But now that seems less important now.
Right.
Because it's almost an assumption. If you're working for us, everybody got a degree. We all got masters, son. Some of us got PhDs. Like
exactly.
That's nothing new.
So, I think that was just one tidbit, looking through all her notes, that person's notes, that was like, interesting.
Yeah.
And, she did prefaces like, you can just take this as,
grain of salt, right?
Feedback from a person who looks at hundreds of resumes of a day, a weekday, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
And, this is what I think, here's another interesting article you can look at. And she just went down the list of like, certain things to look at. And the main one that really got me was having the education last on the resume.
Yeah, because I don't know if I would even recommend. Like, I probably would correct someone. Like, I've seen it, and I recommended maybe like formatting the education where it's different or not as pronounced. I think that's something I tell folks now. Like, the education doesn't necessarily have to be pronounced. But I usually had a resume on there somewhere within that first half of the page. Right, so be it right after your name, or how sometimes with the design it can be like in the footer, not the footer, what's it called, column. You know what I'm talking about? Like sometimes education could just be put off the side in the list, like. But I always would assume education would be on the first page, within the first, above the fold of any type of resume and or CV. So I need to step my game up. Right,
because it really just it was just shocking.
Because the realm I'm in, never mind. You don't need to know.
Yeah. No, but I think it's just shocking. And then just being like, well, what do I do with this? It's like, well, do I listen to the person who currently is in the field doing this, or do I be like, no, fuck this shit?
I think you do both, right? I think you got to step out on faith and see. You have to be willing to take advice and critique.
Yeah.
And feedback.
And that's one of the things I'm going at, or one of the ways I'm going at.
Yeah.
To say, well, I've been doing it for this long.
Who whispers before he yells?
Exactly.
Now he talking to you. You keep on doing it your way.
And that's more or less where I'm at with that. It's like, well, I've been doing it for this long, this way. Well, what else do I got to lose?
You can always go back to your way.
Yeah.
Because I think the hard part out here is that you're just trying to get through the resume show. Like you're just trying to. I don't know. It's very different. The job hunt is very different.
It's something.
Yeah, I agree. Like even for temp jobs, it's very different.
So, I'm going to take her advice and I'm going to craft it a way that she recommended. And I even asked her, like, do you mind that after I go through your recommendations and, read the articles you asked me to read, kind of send it back to you just to see, like, get more feedback. And she's like, yeah.
Yeah, she good people. Excellent, though. Maybe that can be a couple activity maybe I should redo I haven't touched my resume since they offered me a job. I basically threw mine away. So I need to get back to that. Like, I need to go dust off. I think I'm all set with a CV, but I need to go dust off my resume and, like, not even with the job I'm working on, but like my previous roles. Like, I need to go back and flip that so it looks appealing in the direction I'm going in now, right? Because before it was very academically focused and stuff that people don't care about unless you're in academia, right? They look at this shit like, child, we do this. It's a mile day, right?
Right.
So, you know, maybe that'd be an activity for us. That's an activity for y'all. Why don't y'all dust off your resumes? I don't care if you love your job, but it's time to dust off them resumes.
Yeah.
And get to rolling.
Exactly. So I think that's more or less like what I've been going on. And I think we should do it together and you know, get some feedback, and especially for me, because like I said, it's just interesting, right? To be in a different place, different city, and things run a little bit differently, and you're like, all right, how do I?
Gotta be able to take feedback. You gotta be able to take feedback, and the thing is, it's hard to take feedback. Like, feedback, I don't care what nobody say. You know, people like, oh, I thrive off feedback.
Yeah,
bullshit.
Exactly.
Feedback is hard.
Yeah.
Like, getting constructive feedback is like, damn, I feel shitty. But we know it's important. We know it's something that you have to actively do, and in all realms of your life, be it professionally or personally, like, you have to be willing to hear that, and that's the hardest thing. I don't know. How do you do with feedback? Am I getting off track, Nero?
No, I don't think you're getting off track. I think a lot of people need, you know, a lot of people will benefit from this. But I think,
how do you give and receive feedback?
Let me start with the receiving feedback first.
Yeah.
Because growing up where I've grown up from Detroit, it took me a lot to not take things personally. Because shit, I didn't have that, so all I had my words, my balls, right?
Yeah.
So when you start talking or giving criticism or constructive feedback, you want to fight a nigga because it's like, oh, you calling me trash?
Yeah.
So, you know, it took me years to learn how to accept that and be like, oh, this is not personal. And sometimes it's even a mind shift to say, oh, they're giving me this because they love me and they want me to improve what it is. And what I mean from that, like, you know, I ain't talking about gaslighting and things of that sort, but I'm talking about like the times where, you know, I was writing articles, academic articles, or, you know, putting together a presentation, or, you know, assignments that I sent to my advisor. And, you know, I think about the story that Nia sent, you know, talked about where he sent his advisor this article and everything was read except for his name and the date.
And she was like, yeah, it's a good start. Everything I have questions on is highlighted.
Like, everything I have questions on is highlighted and read. And he opened that document and everything was highlighted but his name and the date. And being like, damn.
Then you have a choice on how you respond.
Exactly. And you look at that, it's like, damn, I'm trash. Like, I'm a horrible writer. Yeah. I don't know if I can do this. And, you know, that leads to, like, self-doubt and imposter syndrome and things of that sort. But I can't remember what TV show or whatever it was, but they said something like, you're going to have a shitty draft. You're going to have a shitty first draft.
All your drafts everybody's first draft is shitty.
You're going to have a shitty first draft, and you need to get to the shitty first draft to
get to the draft 35. That's amazing.
Exactly. So that took me years to learn, right? That took me 30-something years to understand that, to learn that, to know that people put in time and effort to do this, and it may look easy, but you don't understand how many drafts they went through just to get it there.
Patience. I think that's what I really learned. I learned through my feedback cycle is that that's really where I get my patience from. Niram teasing me to say I'm not a patient person, and I'm not. Where I'm at the most patient point in my life or in my state is when I'm receiving feedback, and that's from anyone. Like, so if I'm getting it from my supervisor, if my folks who report to me are giving it, like, I'm really trying to do that. And I also think important about this feedback is understanding how you process or what you need to receive feedback.
Right.
So I think what surprises a lot of people is I'm definitely open for feedback. I definitely receive it. But sometimes I think based off my personality, people think I'm going to then spit it right back at them. Mm-hmm. Right. They think I'm able to process that in the moment. But me, when I receive feedback, I need at least 24 hours to process that. And then after that 24 hours, I can come back to you. So what I've learned, I had to tell folks when they're like, can I talk to you or give you some feedback? Or even I learned what I have to do. I've done it with supervisors, and I also do it now with the folks who I supervise. I always say, I'm so happy, I'm so appreciative of this feedback, and like they'll say, hey Nyambi, I want to give you some feedback, wherever it is. Y'all know what the keywords is, and I'm like, yes, I'm so excited to have this conversation. I can't wait to hear all the things you have to say. Yes, can we talk now? But no, the way that I process, would it be okay if I follow up with you in a day or 3 days or next week to then come back and fully process this?
Exactly.
And then having that self-efficacy to say that, because I don't do well in the moment. So either I'm talking crazy or I'll just shut down. Like, I don't, they're like, what do you think? I turn to Whitney Hughes. I don't think about it.
I don't think about it.
But if I really take the time, because the way I process, at first I got to go and be in all my feelings and be like, this bitch don't know me, da, da, da. Then I'll be like, okay, now that I got that out my system,
Right.
what does this really mean? How can I apply it? That's when I do the NERM. What's going to fly and what I'm really going to take to heart. Right. So I need at least 24 hours to go through that full scale of emotion before I'm either able to go back to a manager to say, this is what I'm hearing you said. This is how I'm going to move forward with X, Y, and Z. Or again, to someone who I supervise. Like, I heard this is the feedback that you gave me. This is what I'm thinking. This is how we're going to move forward. So I think it's okay to even give that feedback, to say, like, I need X amount of time to give you an adequate response. In that. So knowing how you process it, and if you don't know how you process it, look around, right? Like, and some people are opposite. Like, once they get it, they want to have that open dialogue and process at that moment. So I think it's very important to be aware of your style and be aware of the style of the folks you're working with.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I'm still learning, and it's hard.
It is hard because I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. I'm
an ex-academic, and all we do is argue.
Exactly.
And throw each other. Tear each other down,
right?
AKA peer review. No, and the thing, I do it, like, I've definitely drank the Kool-Aid when it comes to feedback, and it's important. And I know we're talking about it in a professional setting, but I think even in relationships, and I think we're doing better at that too, Nero. Initially in our relationship, I don't know if we were the best at it, but now we do better at it.
Yeah,
what would you say that looks like in our personal relationship?
I think, even think about even when we had disagreements or arguments, we're more likely to bounce back quicker than we did when we started dating.
Yeah.
And we're more cognizant of, like, being like, okay, let me listen to her. I'm not going to say anything.
It's this idea of agreeing to disagree but still moving forward.
Yeah.
But agree to disagree but commit.
Right.
Like, learning that. And I think the old Nyambi be like, I ain't committing to shit. If I disagree with it, like, I ain't committing to shit, right? So it's okay to agree to disagree and then commit and move forward. And that applies to professional settings too, y'all. Like, sometimes you can't win. You're going to want to be in that meeting and be like, y'all are wrong. You are so wrong. Everyone here is wrong.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to agree to disagree. But here's the kicker. You have to commit to what you decided to as a team. Even if in your head,
it's wrong.
Didn't I tell y'all Negroes this wasn't the right process?
Right.
And you'll have so much peace in your life once you do that. And that happens in relationships too.
Yeah. I think about, and I know we're going on the tangent here.
Well, we can talk about feedback and we'll get into school.
No, but I think about the conversation that, me and Nia has had multiple times, because he's the type of guy that's like, I know you wrong. I'm going to prove you wrong. And
that's that Capricorn energy.
And if I'm your friend or if I love you, I'm going to keep showing you wrong until you realize that I'm right.
Yeah, that's definitely Capricorn behavior. Go ahead. I was about to do a whole, about to do a sign thing.
You about to do a whole thing about that. But just going to him and being like, brother.
It's okay.
Beloved.
You said beloved.
At work, they don't care if you're right. You can provide them with as much research, documents, all the receipts in the world. If they want this to be this way, they're going to tell you to be it that way. So you wasting all your time and energy for people who don't care what you think. And he's like, you know what? You're right.
It's a science to this. It's an art and a science to this in workplace relationships. And I've been applying a lot of my workplace relationships to like personal relationships too.
Right.
So that's a big one to me. Agree to disagree and commit. My other one that I'm trying to harness a little bit more is this idea is that you can disagree without being disagreeable. Because those two different energies.
Right.
You can disagree without being completely disagreeable. Right? Because when you get into space of being disagreeable, like everyone, like it's like going back and forth, tensions are high. Like there's a way to maintain a level of respect and say, I don't believe in that. I'm not doing that. Or I don't agree with that.
Right.
But continue to move forward. It's some sense of peace that I'm just trying to hold on, grasp onto. That keeps me moving forward in that. And I do that because I think something stood out to me. Look, it could have been a Instagram hotep that says, y'all out here talking about y'all having trouble sleeping. Yeah, you having trouble sleeping because sleep requires peace and you have no peace in your life. I said, ooh, what's he talking to Nyambi? So I'm seeking peace. Peace, period. All right. We got some pillow talk.
Yeah.
Was that pillow talk? I don't know.
That was pillow talk-ish.
Y'all know we go with the flow. We're going to do Insecure.
You want to do it now?
Yes.
Okay.
Or you think we should wait till next week?
No, we can do it.
All right. We can do quickly.
All right. How about you go? What you think?
We're going to talk about this last episode. It's interesting. I think I'll start the reverse. Well, this is not reverse. I'm just going to jump around. And then next week we'll get a little more structure. Can I be for real with y'all? Insecure started a little slow to me. The first couple episodes were a little boring. Only thing was popping was Issa and Daniel's skin. And like I get it, but for them they only have 7, 8 episodes in the season. I just don't think they can afford to be this slow when you only got 8 episodes, 4 hours to tell your story. But it did start to pick up in episode 3 and 4. What I thought it was interesting that they're talking about the changing friend dynamics. I think it is. I think they're giving Amanda Steele's character a really hard time. Like they are being a little overkill with like responsiboring. Last hurrah. Like she is just pregnant, sis. Right? Like her life isn't over. Is it going to shift? Is her priorities going to shift? Is she might not be as accessible as she was before? Yes. But does that mean to the core she's going to change who she is? Does that mean she can't make it to a heavy hour every once in a while? No, I don't think so. It's like they automatically removed her from any invites, just like they had that separate group chat. Looks like they already I said, damn, y'all removed her from the group chat? That's kind of disrespectful. And then I think her name, is it Kelly? She said, yeah, we got a separate one without you. So I thought that was interesting. And even in that last scene with her in the car with Issa, how she was real, like, even if we going to be friends.
Right.
It's something to that, though. It happens in two separate. I've noticed it in my life. It's when women begin to get, I can't speak because I don't know men, right? Like in relationships like this, right? When women get married and they still have a lot of friends who are single, like is this detachment? And also when women have babies and maybe they're the first of their group or it's not like everyone didn't do it at the same time, there's this detachment. And I have no idea why that happens. Because I try to be the friend. Like, I really don't give. Like, the thing is, I don't go out that much or I don't have this rock style lifestyle so much that the things we do really are still pretty much accessible, right? We might miss a brunch. But for the most part, the way I hang out with my friends is like, what, movies? Right. Come over your house. Right now, I just assume the baby going to be looking at us. And I can't swear as much.
And it's cool, because the first couple of years, the babies don't understand anyway.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. What did the babies do for the first 3 months?
Nothing.
Except cry.
Look, sis, you go ahead and pump. Get you 3 bottles. We going to drink. You going to have to just dump the rest of that for the rest of the night.
So I don't know. And also, I haven't had a lot of friends who maybe have had, kids, but the ones I've had, I can assume that they maybe felt different or left out, or especially when they're kind of the first ones in their groups. I can imagine how that could be hard. The marriage ones I never really get because I'm like, sis, nobody wants you, man. But very interesting. But what I noticed, it doesn't happen with men. Like men can have all types of babies, overflow, and they still hanging with their boys. Yeah. Or the idea that women relationships have to be like definite. I think it was the after show that Issa and Prentice was saying, like, how guys, they'll just have friends throughout their whole life. And it could be their friend from like elementary school. And they're like, yeah, that's my best friend. And they're like, but you don't really talk to them. He's like, yeah, but that's still my best friend. We're women. If we be like, oh, that's my girl, that's my girl. Like we talk consistently.
Right.
And we have a problem with like, yeah, that was my best friend. And we have to make, at that point in my life, we're not girls no more. We don't kick it no more. But men don't make that distinction.
No, we don't.
I think that's so interesting. Right?
Yeah.
It's something to unpack. You have no thoughts on that, Neil?
I agree with what you said, and I agree with the dude said. It's the truth, because I'm in a situation right now where it's people where, we've been cool since middle school, high school.
Yeah.
And, occasionally we keep in touch, but, that's the OG. And if nigga call and say something going on.
It's going on.
It's going on.
Where women aren't in that same area. And I think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
In areas where women, especially having kids, you would think that's when we will band together even more.
You would think so.
But it's a sense of isolation. I haven't had kids, so I don't want to mama explain. But there is some type of self-induced isolation that happens there too. I absolutely have seen friends that you be like, oh yeah, you have a baby. Oh, I read X, Y, and Z. Then they quit to be like, well, I know and I don't read. Well, sis, I'm not saying that, I'm Dr. Polk or whatever that famous OBGYN. Like if there is some, and we got to have a Von Zant fixing, healing session on that. But there is some self-induced isolation that happens, I will say, at both those areas. When women get married because they feel it's a certain thing they have to do, and also when women have children. I've seen that live in play. Where it's like, sis, you doing this, you don't got to suffer in silence. Or, I talk to all my girlfriends, and I made this a clear note. And I told this scenario, when I have a child, I still have to have a form of life, and I'm still going on dates with my man. I've seen women who, they don't go on a date with their partner till that baby is 20.
Well, I think it's sexism, though. I think about it more.
What is that? I'm talking about the choice. Where it's like you have resources of people around you, but you're still deciding to stay. At what sacrifice?
It's the societal pressures that, a good mom is this, a good wife is this.
Yeah. Or the idea when the mom's like, yeah, I look raggedy any day, as long as my kids fly. Well, there's not a healthy balance there, sis. Do you have to look raggedy?
Right.
And I'm not saying, of course, the mama be flying, the kid look like booger woogers, like the dirty kids at Target, right? But we both can't eat, son.
Right.
Meanwhile, on a ranch, white folks getting night nurses and
night nurses,
white
and
mamas going to sleep.
Nurses. I'm not letting my titties droop. I'm gonna let somebody else breastfeed my baby.
Or maybe that's not even a white thing. That's a money thing. Like where they were like, "Child, I'm going to bed." So I just think about that type of stuff that happens, and I'm like, I wonder why. And I'm trying to make clear notes to myself now, and hopefully this podcast around when I do get pregnant and I can process with y'all. But you already know how I feel. I need a whole tribe. I need a whole team of people who's rotating, checking on me, and helping me raise this human, so I won't fuck it up alone. So I at least have a whole committee to bring down with me.
Preferably black.
It's it's okay to have a variety of folks, but I would like it to be majority black. To help me also when I'm slipping.
Right.
Because I can't be the, of course I love my kid as much as I can, but you can't be the end all be all. Or what happens if, it's a certain blindness you have to your kid. I think you need friends around you to be like, yeah, your kid fucking up. Or yeah, you babying their asses. Or you need to take them to the doctor. Or that's not normal. Right? You need a friend who gonna have real talk with you. Yeah. Anywho, what else is going on? What's up with these folks getting high? This is not really a consistent. Why they get? Aren't they?
It's Coachella.
Hold on. What age checkbox is he sending them in?
It don't matter. It's Coachella.
Maybe I'm in the wrong checkbox.
No,
because if they're in the 20s, cool. But I don't know no well-known black women who's going to take mystery Altoids from someone they don't know.
You don't know that.
Mystery Altoids?
We know what they are. Molly.
Y'all doing Molly out here?
Yes.
Casually?
It's Coachella. When in Coachella?
I wouldn't care.
When in
and then y'all niggas got a problem going to church taking communion. But you taking, what is the chemical components of Molly?
MD.
What is it?
I don't know.
Exactly. That is for real, y'all. Like, I know it's a show, right? That's just, I don't want to turn this into how everybody was getting on them for not using condoms. So I don't want to turn that to this type of conversation, but they just took it almost a little too casually to me.
What you mean? That's how it be.
Molly?
Yes.
For that age range of black women?
Yes.
And what type of edibles was they on?
The same ones we on when you had.
I wasn't doing all that. I don't know.
You don't even remember.
I don't know if I was high enough to get tased and not remember if I got tased. Oh, that'll sober me really up. To pee on yourself? Man, that threw me off a little bit. Am I that? I'm getting on that other side of the checkbox.
Yeah, you are.
I'm scared that'll make my heart stop. Have a stroke. I'd be scared I hit the Bobby Brown. Like, I feel like that's why I thought they was gonna take it and they was instantly gonna fall to pieces. What else is going on? Molly and her job. I didn't like how Molly did them black women. I also didn't like how Molly wasn't acting smart. She's brilliant, right? She knows what she's doing. She knows there's a game at play. But the thing is, she's not playing the game smart. She's playing the game hard.
Yes.
So why would you take on all this extra work to work for? Y'all know how y'all Morehouse men is. I would say not even Morehouse. Any black men with a little bit too much education. Yeah. Humility is not in y'all vocabulary, right? He gonna be extra. He gonna talk over you, right? And she had this circle of supportive black women, right? Not only just black women, but supportive, who was like, "Yes, sis, what do you need? Come help." Like, and bringing her in on their cases, but yet she still decided to go
with the man.
That just didn't seem smart to me. That just didn't seem like a smart move. She's working hard. Like, I think it's gonna get the same outcome, but it didn't seem smart.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, it's like anything. We get in a new position, you feel like you got to prove yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel like she feel like she has to prove herself with this lawyer stuff. But hell, isn't she a partner? I don't know.
There's many ways to prove yourself, air quotes. And taking on this case the weekend before you go to Coachella
is not the one.
Was just not smart. Like, this couldn't wait till next week. And the thing, she had it set up with the other sisters so she could have finished the stuff before that piece missed me a little bit. I didn't but I did relate to her on the idea of working. So I know all the cubicle warriors know what it is to kind of work on trips or work while on vacation or work while you visiting. I do that, and I'm trying to get better at it.
Nah, I'll be working on date night.
What you mean?
I think I seen that phone out when we was at Anita.
Whatever, like, it's so that's something I'm working through. Or even like getting up early. Like, I'll go to bed on the laptop, then wake up. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
What happened? You went to bed?
I went to bed. Your ass on the phone, laptop. I wake up. Your ass still clickety clack.
What you said? What day is it?
I said, what time is it? I was like 6 a.m. Like 6 a.m. I said, shit, you want to go work out? No, I'm working. Fuck you too, then.
I had to finish that. I wanted to get that off my mind. So I thought that was interesting. Let's get to it. Actually, no. So do we hit everybody? Kelly, the thick black girl. I don't like all this slapstick shit. The thing is, I love her though. Like, I love her comedic timing. I love her acting. I love all of that. But I don't like that shit. Sis had to piss on herself. That shit wasn't funny. This is me. Yeah. And I had to look at him. I said, that shit ain't funny.
Why the fat one got to piss on themselves? Why I couldn't be the pregnant one?
Okay, no, I ain't saying. I don't like that. I want to see a little bit more fleshed out with her because I think she had a story to tell.
Well, she's just playing the funny fat person.
I don't like that.
I know you don't like that.
I trust Issa to do more than that. I trust and I encourage her to do more than that because the girl is so talented that I'm like, look, this is me. Like, even with the first few episodes, like, I think that's where it hits with Lawrence. Like, I know everybody was like, oh my God, Lawrence is coming. Look, this is me. The thing, I wasn't excited about it, nor was I disappointed about it. I think it's life. So you can't tell me that after you break up with someone, especially after 5 years, your lives are so intertwined from the people that you hang out with, hell, to where you go get takeout from. She never thought she was going to cross paths with Lawrence again.
That's a lie.
Like, why was that a surprise to everyone?
It wasn't to me. I was just waiting on to come.
I kind of got suspicious when Issa Rae was so explicit, like, no, Lawrence will not be returning. Like, that was just, my ears start tingling like, oh, that nigga coming back.
Yeah, he coming back.
For her to be that explicit, like, usually it's like, wait and see. We don't know what's in store.
Right.
And she was like, she made this Bill Clinton firm comment. I said, oh, she a lie. But I was surprised how shocked everyone is. Like, they never thought this was going to happen. Or the idea that when you are moving forward and you is getting your groove back, right? Ain't that what shit pop off? We talked about that last episode. Right when you get in your groove, you feeling yourself. Right. Your skin done cleared up. You done lost 10 pounds.
Naomi exes reach out to her.
That's when they come. And it should be exactly what it is. I think it was Jules. She cracked me up. She said she's so sick of these little light-skinned house cat men who just keep sneaking up looking for pets. Like, it's just, what do you think?
House cat.
Yeah, that's what we call light-skinned men. House cats.
Oh.
Little house cats. You know how they just kind of rub on you, want attention, but then they get funny? Yeah, house cat.
Gotcha.
So I'm not that interested. Like, I'm indifferent to it. This energy that I think we're about to put into this Lawrence dialogue or storyline, I would much rather see a storyline where we did flashbacks on Issa's upbringing.
It's going to be Lawrence versus Nathan.
Why is it even verse? First of all, Nathan, you can't trust him with them funny eyes. So everyone listen, it's not going to work. Is everyone prepared for that? He probably got a kid and a wife in Houston. Because remember he said he left with the flood. Like, he's getting you feeling sad for him. Mm-hmm. When you find out he really done left his kids wait looking for him. I'm not like, he's a good little bobbity wop bop bop for the summer. Mm-hmm. But when the leaves start to change, or when it's LA, when you got to put on a cardigan, it's fine for us to go our separate ways. Why is that so hard for everyone to believe?
Because,
what does he do again?
I don't know.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm still unclear on him. And they going skinny dip. He's just a doody dop dop bop, summer bop.
Oh.
And that's it.
Oh, okay.
Issa need to figure out where she gonna work at, or create her own nonprofit. She need to do. So that's what I want to see her do.
I thought she was gonna go with the dancing folks.
I'm sure that'll be full circle. She'll come back to them eventually. I don't know why her and Daniel don't team up to create something. I actually like her and Daniel. I think they're honest with each other. I think they press buttons like a bitch, but I think they're the only folks who are really honest with each other.
Girl, please. You just like their skin tone and their light. Like their skin tone.
You don't think they absolutely hit buttons and go below the belt, but you don't think they're honest with each other?
They ain't got no but to be honest with each other, especially in that situation that they was in.
Like, it's something to that, right? It's about somebody who, again, when you be able to tell you the truth and keep it moving. Mm-hmm. So, anything if they up on that Ferris wheel, I think I'd be scared to have sex in that thing up there that high. Especially if it stopped.
Your mama raised you scary.
And we rocking. That might be scary. I'm excited to see what's coming. It looks like it's Tiffany's baby shower. So, anything else you got from that, Nero?
No, I think you mentioned everything.
Oh, my God. All right, let's keep it rolling. That's Nero. Want me to speed it up? Go ahead.
What? I'm just saying, I'm trying to get to the meat of the program.
Well, let's get to the meat. I think Nero, I'm just hungry. Come on. An American Horror Story come on tonight. American Horror Story Apocalypse.
I know.
Or yesterday, I should say. I'm litty lit. We will be reviewing that bitch on Friday. I love Ryan Murphy.
And y'all welcome, because it's going to be another 2-hour episode.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, my God. Come on, Nero. You add too much content.
I added 3 bullet points.
Come on,
you had too much coffee.
You know what, you niggas? I'm just drinking water tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Or we Thursday. See. And when we record, I'm coming with good water energy for y'all.
Oh, okay. We gonna see. Mm-hmm. Your ass hooked off that coffee now. You up to 2 cups now?
Get to the point.
Shit. So, yeah, we
espresso over ice. That's my drink of choice.
Okay, so we're gonna do a back to school episode these next couple episodes because niggas is going back to school. We got some listeners who may have kids that's going to high school age and things of that sort. Just a little reminisce type of thing. So I got a couple bullet points here, and I figure we'll just have a casual conversation about that. So we're gonna start off with like high school today, and then we're going to see maybe we can squeeze undergrad and grad school in one episode, or if not, we'll just split those up too.
You'll see how it goes.
Just see how it goes. So I figure we'll just start this conversation with a tell of 2 stories. Like, I think we both have extremely different backgrounds when it comes to high school, and I figure we'll just tell our stories on that, and then converge and talk about lessons learned and things we would have changed and things of that sort.
I'm down.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay. You want me to go? You want to go first?
You go first.
Okay. So like I said, I'm born and raised in east side of Detroit, Michigan. So I like to start my high school story off with actually with me being in middle school and taking. So there's these 3 quote unquote, I'm using air quotes here, prestigious cool schools in Detroit within the DPS system. I'm talking about Martin Luther King High School, Cass Tech, and Renaissance. So in middle school, we all had to take a test to get into these schools. I don't know if they still do it now.
I'm sure it's some type of. They have to. It's too many people, probably.
But I really wasn't interested in taking the test.
What?
I wasn't, because I was like, this is a waste of time.
Yeah.
And my sister ended up going to one of those schools, and my mom was like, well, your sister got in. You should try it. And I'm like, Mom, that was like
a while ago.
Years ago.
Yeah.
So I took the test and I didn't get in. Moving forward into like high school, I went to a very overpopulated school.
Yeah.
A lot more people that were supposed to be there. So, and with that being said, I was forced to like go to Votech or like what they call like vocational school. So like half of my day, I did like the like solid stuff, the math, the sciences, or whatever. But when it came to electives, I didn't have any, and I had to go bus out 45 minutes to a vocational school and do some shit there. And the thing was, the vocational school was overpopulated as well.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even do something I really liked.
Exactly.
So, I wanted to do like...
Because when we were in high school and middle school, that's when Detroit was still had a lot of people. It had 1 million people. Yeah.
So, I wanted to do something like cooking or auto body or, some shit like that. Instead, I was in some other fuck shit.
Okay.
Some shit I didn't even use. It was like, some shit that's actually out of date.
Okay.
Thinking about it now. To add on to that, I was like a average to below average student. Truthfully, I really just didn't care.
I was going to say, get to the real point.
Truthfully,
get to the juice, honey.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Like, truthfully, I didn't care.
Yeah.
I didn't care about school. I didn't really give a fuck about school. It was just something that was this, a part of the things I had to do. Also, with being in a single-parent household, like, I was a home alone a lot. I had to monitor myself a lot. It was me and the snitching ass lady next door that would tell my mom.
Don't be a hater.
When I had them girls over. But, when I was reflecting about this and like making little bullet points about this, out of the 4 years I was in high school, I think my mom only seen 1 report card.
How did you get away with that?
I just did. Because the thing was, she was always working. She wasn't really at home during those during those hours. So she worked.
Do so much.
Yeah, so she worked shift work. So she had nights. So from 2 to 11, she was at work. And that's the time where I'm at home at the school. So whenever she got home, I was either asleep or trying to get home before she got home, and whatever. So during those times that you would traditionally have like kitchen table talk or have dinner with your kids and have conversations about that stuff, we really just didn't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
So she worked 2 jobs. So even on the weekend, she was gone too. So it was a mixture of things. Like I would say that everything for me was like it was just always fine.
Yeah.
Like so, whenever she asked about school, like school is cool. Whenever she asked about homework, I never had homework. Things of that sort. So I think for me, like things kind of changed when I tried out for football in my sophomore year.
Yeah.
So my freshman year in high school, I think my overall GPA was like a 2.0 or 1.9 or something like that. Like I said, I was very average, under average, whatever you want to call it. And all my homeboys was playing football. I was trying out, and that's like, near you should try out too. It's like, well, fuck it, I'm going to try out too.
Yeah.
And everything was going good that whole summer. Like, the thing about football tryouts in the summer, like, they don't mention grades and nothing like that. I was on track to, like, make the varsity football team and everything like that. And then it came to the point where the coaches had to check grades to,
yeah,
like, make sure, like, everybody's on the up and up, right? and I can't remember if it was like a 2.0 or 2.5, whatever it was. I was way below what I need to have. And, when it came to my name, because the thing was, it was the day we got football pass.
Yeah.
So the coaches call off people's names, make sure your GPA was good, give you your helmet and football pads and your jersey.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's like making it official. He got to my name, he looked at my GPA, and then he fucking embarrassed me on the field. So he's like, boy, what the fuck you doing out here? Your ass ain't had a fucking grades for this shit. You out here wasting my time and the team's time and all this other shit. And just told me to get gone. Fuck on.
He didn't follow up with you?
No.
Oh, my God. What type of shit is that?
So I just left. Mm-hmm. And, my homeboy's like, yeah, man, damn, he went off on your ass. But, it is what it is. And I knew I didn't have the grades because I was just on some fuck shit, right? So, like, during that whole period, like I said, my mom was so, like, she was just gone because she had to work and keep mortgages and shit like that. So, when she started noticing that I wasn't going to football practice or things of that sort, she's like, what's the deal? And I just told her, like, I just want to work this summer. I'd rather make money than to play football. Aww. And she was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, Nero.
What?
My story ain't like yours.
I know. That's why I said to tell two different stories. So I think it was that instance, like me being embarrassed. I'm a defiant motherfucker. I don't like motherfuckers tell me, I can't do shit like that. That made me, at least improve my grades good enough that the next time I tried out for football, my junior year,
he was ready.
I was ready. And I think it was that type of shift that helped me, like, worry about grades or think about grades. Because you got to remember, like, since I didn't play football, that freshman or sophomore year, I was in the choir or the glee club or whatever you want to call it. And I ended up getting a scholarship for Oberlin.
Yeah.
And, I turned that down because wasn't really focused about that.
You should have took your ass to Oberlin.
I know, right?
Child, what is the scholarship for again?
Singing.
Hell, I would have. I've been a singing Negro. They can't take that away.
Right. And that's the thing, like, my mom really didn't know about that scholarship or things of that sort. But also, like, also going back and thinking about, like, my mom was older. Like, she had me when she was 40. So it was just different. And it was a different time than when my brothers and sisters went to school versus me. And it was also a different situation. So, me turning down or making these life decisions and not having a sounding board or, like, nobody to like go over these things. Like, I just turned, like, somebody from the school came and they said I can go to school for free, but I ain't really want to go sing. I don't want to go sing. Yeah,
to have someone to say, well, you're doing this to a means to ends of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Say, if you can just dedicate so many hours of singing, the outcome would be in twofold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, I feel like from there, that's where that shift came, where I got embarrassed on the football field and the coach shoot me away for having these bad ass grades and, like, wasting this time that I kind of took focus or started to get somewhat focused on school, like I said, enough for me to have the grades so I can play football and not worry about singing. What else from there? What other things I want to talk about? So, moving on, I would say to my senior year, and this is like my process. So I think in the junior year going to senior year, this is initially where me and my mom had this conversation about, like, what I'm going to do after I graduate, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing for her was, I can't afford to get your ass to school. I can't afford to pay for you to go to school. Mm-hmm. However, I did the next best thing. And I talked to my supervisor at the assembly line at one of the jobs she was working. She's like, I can get you in at the assembly line to graduate, and you won't be, I forgot what it is, a lower level. You'll be at a higher level. Mm-hmm. You'll be a level under supervisor, and, you work here for a year or so, and you can be a supervisor, and you make good money. So,
that's the life, right?
Yeah, and it was the life. And, and I was at an impasse where it was like, my mom was like, well, You can do this and you'll be straight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I don't want to work it for the assembly line.
Mm-hmm.
And her being like, well, I don't know what you're going to do because I can't pay for that shit. So you're going to have to find a way if you are going to go. And I think that's the year, like I had the best like football season ever because I was like, fuck it, I don't want to be at the crib. And the same thing. So I went through it, had a good ass season. Some recruiters came. Was recruited from Black College came. You know, he fast talking nigga from Detroit like myself. You know, he ran some game. Next thing you know, I was flown out.
You said he ran some game.
Yeah.
You tried it.
You know, ran some game. I was flown out. You know, to check out the Black College experience and blah blah blah. And you know, that was the first school that gave me an offer, and I just took it.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing, like not having a sounding board, like not waiting for other offers or things of that sort. Like it came, and I was like, cool. I guess I'm going to school.
Yeah.
But also, you know, one of the things that also messed me up was that I didn't have the grades. So I had the red shirt for the first year because I didn't have the grades. So, you know, it really put a bad taste on like my experience as a football player as well as being at this school because A, I was far as hell away from home. B, I wasn't able to play football for that first, you know, semester. So, and C, you know, with all that being said, I just didn't want to be there no more.
Come on.
So, that was pretty much like my high school story in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Nyambi?
That was good. Mine's not compared to be as detailed. I was pretty, you know, I'm lucky, and I would say I'm blessed. I had parents who were really, really actively engaged in my life. My parents had me, I guess, at an average age when they were younger in their 20s, right? So my parents always kind of been on the younger side. And like, I think I've shared this story a little bit before. I was an average student, I would say, in elementary and middle school. So not bad, not good. Meaning that my parents never missed a parent-teacher conference. They never missed a report card. But the thing was, I was the type of student that it caused trouble. Does that make sense? So, you know, if I got a B minus, that's still okay. And honestly, I think, you know, for middle school and elementary, it's a little different. Even getting like a C in middle school, I think my parents were still trying to figure out, like, you know, maybe this is the best you can. Does that make like, you know, your kid's capability to be like, well, maybe she really trying, right? Because they go talk to the teachers, and the teacher's like, she's engaged, she talks, she communicates. Like, well, maybe this is what it can be. I would say what my parents maybe didn't do is they maybe could have got in my butt a little harder, right, in that elementary and middle school, because I just didn't see. I might could have been a little bored. I don't know what that was, but I just performed averagely. And also, I would say in elementary school, I went to like an all black school, and then I didn't make the switch till I got like older. So like even that energy's off, and I honestly think that's what shifted my mentality, because there was this social aspect of school that I got, and I think I was really socially savvy in those areas, and I was able to navigate, be through, and have a good time. But when I went to the white school, it was kind of like, I don't got nothing else to do but read. But I remember like my first year or so transitioning to this white school and thinking like, this is white. And I'm talking about white school. Like, teacher looked like she from Little House on the Prairie white. Like, oh my God. And believe it or not, I never was in a situation where I felt like they isolated me. Like, that didn't happen till later. Like, isolation didn't happen till like deeper in middle school. But the younger kids, it wasn't really that. It's just I didn't click with them. Like, we had two lived experiences. We had just different upbringings and norms on like friends visitings to everything. I think about to like lunches. Both my parents worked. So although I had both parents at home, both my parents worked their butt off. And my mom worked days and my father would work nights. So my mom would work like a 6 a.m. to 2 or 3, and then my father would work a 3 to 11. So I was lucky enough so I was never home alone, right? It's something there. But with that being said, my parents worked. Like, they didn't have jobs where they was just kicking back and chilling. Like, they really worked. So I necessarily didn't have the mom who would like make me these elaborate lunches. That would be something my dad had to do. And my dad, even himself, figuring out like, child, is this good? Like, and I'd be looking at him like, this is soggy. Because I'm looking at, he done gave me my lunch in a dirty brown paper bag, in a Target bag or a dollar store, and the white kids got lunch pails.
They got Superman and Wonder Woman.
But in my DPS school, we all bringing lunch the same way. But you get to looking at the white folks like, wait the fuck a minute. And they be having I don't know if this didn't happen at DPS, but I remember clearly it was always a dichotomy at snack. And I think that's why I'm so big on snacks now. We would literally break 2 times during the day to have a separate snack. Did you remember that?
No.
We would have a mid-morning snack and a mid-afternoon snack. And it's not something the school provided, but it's something you packed in your lunch. And it was literally 15 minutes, go eat something. Mm-hmm. And the first couple times I didn't relate that to my parents. I need a snack, and that's not something they're telling them because it's a norm, right? I play it off oh, I'm not hungry, da 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 da. But I be seeing the white folks, they be having their little crackers and ranch and apples and peanut butter and granola, and I be like, where's mine at? Then I try to go relate this to my parents, and they be like, you not full off that sandwich. I'm like, or I remember my dad one time, he was like, you want me to make you a second sandwich? Are you hungry? And I'm like, no,
I want my snack.
I want snacks. Right. So you then go to the market and start seeing I want this. And then not knowing my parents, now having hindsight, they're like, shit, we just bought a house. We're trying to pay a mortgage. We're trying to pay these bills off. And you talking about these extra fruit by the foots. That is not in the budget. Right? Or I don't know. So I think that's more of it was more of a social thing and not an academic thing that shifted for me. So DPS, I know I love my people. I think I've loved my people since I've been a child. So that was always fluid for me. But coming to the white school was difficult for me. But I'm appreciative of my parents because I never wanted to assimilate to them. That never was the issue. It was never oh, I wish I was white or I wish I could do things. I got mad off you see me petty things they snacks is better than mine. But this is me. They snacks is what? Better than mine? I want that. But during that time, I think I really honed in and found myself, right? So that's when I really got deep into reading and just cultivated that persona. In middle school is when I kind of had that come to Jesus moment to say, what am I going to do? Because I had a teacher that not necessarily confronted me in a negative way, but like I said, that was the first time I was like, oh, just a nigga. Right. It was something, and it wasn't even explicit or hurtful, but it was just almost that she was okay with mediocrity and I knew I could do better. And she didn't even encourage me to do that. It was that type of interaction, oh, well, yeah, I'm sure that's the best you did. Thanks, Niam. Sit down. Great as always. Right. It was that. It was almost this sense of complacency that she's oh, well, that's, and it triggered me. And then transitioning to high school is where it popped off. I got my first taste of my 4.0 and I wasn't looking back. And then I started, understanding, y'all know I like reading. So then I started getting into the early readings of Baldwin. This is when I didn't even understand what he was saying. And I had to reread it 3 times. This is when it took me a year to read the autobiography of Frederick Douglass. This is where I'm getting into my wokeness, my true embracing it, right? And understanding the systems and how it's at play and learning that I want to be in positions of power to get to where I want to be. I remember talking to my counselor and being I got to go to college. I want to do this. What do I need to do to get good to go to college? And she was like, well, they look at these things like leadership and da-da-da-da. I said, oh, so I need leadership to go to college? No problem. I then think the next time I went to lunch, I went to the lunch table and was like, listen, bitches, we got to be on student council because they said they need leadership. So I think I feel like we fixed it. I think we did something. What Nikki said, Cardi B did some payola. I feel like we went in and fixed it together. I don't even think I gave my friends an option. I said, so I'm going to run for president. You going to be the VP. You going to be the treasurer. And you going to do this. And I remember going around to all the black people and be y'all don't run. We're going to run. And we're going to just take it over. Because traditionally the councils have always been white, but no black people really went for it because it's always white people. I said, we about to change this shit. And if we can get the buy-in, we can do it. I literally ran the Obama race. So I went and got all the niggas. They was on board. We convinced them. Mind you, we didn't even have a black student union or anything because my high school was a little more mixed than my middle school. And then after that, I was well, the whites ain't voting for me. No, I was we were trying to, we literally looked what's the breakdown of our, how do we get 51%? Got the blacks. That's about 15, maybe 20%. Then we was oh, well, we got to go for the foreign folks. Because y'all got to realize we're in a huge Middle Eastern population. I said, oh, we got to go get the Middle Eastern vote. So then we made like this whole thing. It was like we were doing mafia deals. Then I remember going like to the Middle Eastern popular crew and be like, we trying to do this. Like, we sick of these white folks doing X, Y, and Z. And they was like, well, we don't know. And they ended up making a deal with us. They was like, well, we need to be on the board too. This is me. Nancy, you're no longer VP. Khalid is. So I ain't gonna say his real name. I ain't gonna say Nancy and Khalid real name. But I was like, Nancy, you're out. You'll be a representative. Khalid, you're in VP now. Are we good? And then we still doing the math. So we like, all right. So we got the black people. We got the Middle Eastern people. Who else we gonna get? And so we got Khalid and his team on there. He was like, get the po-ass white people. I was like, I don't know. Like, sometimes they be funny. He was like, let me handle the poor white people. And so then he went and got the poor white people. And again, it's like we created like this whole amnesty. And then he brought back poor ass Dustin and was like, he won a position. I said, I ain't giving that poor white man no power. I said, he can be a representative. He ain't about to be a treasurer. What? Then we got the white vote. And we just kept moving like that. And then the last vote we got was like the international crowd. Like, I don't even know how to explain this. Like, it was like the poor international crowd. It was like the hodgepodge, right? So it was like the Indian kids, a couple Asians, you know, a couple of folks who really didn't fit, like second generation type stuff, like who really didn't connect. And was like, you gonna roll? And of course, they ain't had a self-efficacy to ask us for no position. We just be like, we'll look out for y'all. Mm-hmm. And they vote. And then from that, like, we created like our whole student. Well, that wasn't even student council. That was like 9th grade class government. And it was like me. No, actually, I think me and Khalid, we went back and forth. He was like, no. This is how you know we was woke before we know. They was like, do you think they gonna vote a black woman in? Like, I might have to be the president and you might have to be the VP. And I was like, fuck that. Right. You know, what type of shit you think going on? You know why I agreed to it? We then, once we got in, we switched the Constitution. That VP was was head of programming. Where originally was the president, right? So we got to, and through programming, that's how you direct the agenda, right? Like, if you ain't in charge of programming 9th grade government, what the fuck are you in charge of? Like the float? I don't give a fuck about that. And that's where it began, right? That's where like my wokeness and advocacy began. And we just kept doing that every year and you should have seen the white people faces. Like, you could tell, and they were young, and they kind of like, when they announced the winners, you could kind of see them looking and, they look and whisper at each other. Mm-hmm. So the ones in our class, they looked and whispered at each other, but they ain't really say nothing because they ain't know better. Mm-hmm. So they just thinking like, oh, well, they won, good for them. But it got to it, when you have the class government, you bring every one of all the classes together, right? And then the student government. So we get in that space and everybody white, and so here come class of 2005 looking like the United Nations, and they're like, oh, isn't this and here go the principal, this is a nice diverse representation. Look, yeah, bitch, we about to turn. And we kind of kept that momentum going, and eventually we made it to senior year, kind of with this crew. We had people switch in and out, but it was almost like this unspoken thing. And then when we finally got to senior year, that's when I did what is it called when somebody be like, fuck what you heard, like, just like I reneged on everything. Mm-hmm. And I went to all my black girls and was like, we gonna run student council, right? Because we were transitioning, like, and so in senior year, we're like, do we want to do student, like the not 12th grade council, or do we want to do student council over the whole school? Mm-hmm. And Khalid and them was like, no, I think we should just stick with our class. Like, we got a good thing going, blah, blah, blah. Let's do. I said, fuck that. I'm going for student council president. And guess what we did? Khalid looked up. And Khalid, he still won like class president and everything. Mm-hmm. But then he looked up because when you get the voting thing, it had nothing but like black bitches in every category for like student council, because you have to be a senior, and no one else really kind of went up. Like, we rigged it, and then we went up, and I think even the principal was like,
wait up, man.
To the point where, white schools were really big in student government. So we would have student government conferences where we would go meet other student governments in the district. So the student governments would be white, and then we'll show up like, good evening, we represent blankety blank blank. And they be like, they looking at the map. Did they say Cass Tech? Who do these bitches represent? So that's when I got kind of my first taste. That's my high school experience. It was like I couldn't slack. Right, because they were looking for me to slack. They were looking for me to slip up. Like, it was like the opportunity wasn't there. And like, I had a group of friends that, I don't know, I'm gonna put this phone down. he keep looking at it, and it's driving me crazy. Y'all don't hear that buzzing?
No.
They gotta hear the
I
buzzing.
don't hear no buzzing.
And I remember talking to my friends like, we doing this or bust? Like, we gotta, like, we were really on some dead president type shit. Like, are we gonna do this or bust? This is the story I told y'all when we called the radio. I think it was 97.9. Remember when they have like the competitions for the high schools?
WJLB?
Yeah. And like, if so many people call in and vote for like the livest high school, you know, you get the DJ to come do your pep rally. Well, guess who won? Class of 2005, the whitest school in that they ever heard on that station, kept shocking them. So I was like, y'all, because we were talking about spirit and how we want to get lit for homecoming, like how we gonna use lit. So what we say, bomb, like fresh. I don't know what we were saying. Like, what we gonna do that's gonna set us apart? Like, I think I was like, what are we gonna do to set a tone for who the fuck we are? And of course, I'm cussing. And I think one of the teachers walked by. Miss Nyambi. I said, oh, I'm sorry. There's no other way to explain it. No. I think actually our faculty advisors were more entertained by us. Like, let's see what they gonna do. Like, our prom theme was, oh my God, I ain't gonna go there. But I'll tell this one story and I'll move on. But it was about the pep rally. And I was like, we got to set the tone because, you know, the whole school kind of like, what? Like, you can see they ain't feeling it, right? I said, oh, we about to turn. I said, we really gonna show them what it is to be black. And so I staged like a phone tree with all like the other classes and like class councils and presidents and all that. And they started it at 8 p.m. And that's before we had hacking was in style. I probably shouldn't even say that. We got a young hacker or not a hacker, but someone in a way to have our phones all set up. So as soon as they said dial, what we did,
y'all call.
Boom. Back to back. And it's funny. It was like, all right, Renaissance in the house. All right, Cass Tech. All right, Kettering. You know, they going through the list. Then they was like, white school. I'm going to just call it the white school. Oh, okay, we ain't never heard of y'all, but that's what's up. That's what's up. And then they kept every so many white school to the point where they was like clowning. They was like, where is this located? Like, how far are we going to have to drive? And I think it got down between us and Cass Tech. And we were on that line like nobody business to the point where the whites had finally came over. And the DJ was like, who is this? They're like, hi, this is Becky from white school. Just checking in, class of 2005, 24. You know, we so live. We can't wait for you all to come. And you know, the radio DJ's having a good time with it. Really, Becky? Really? And then the next one to call, hey, this is Johnny from white school. We just can't wait. Like, to the point where we won the competition. So they had to come out. But of course, who didn't tell the principal they won? The class. And so the DJs come, ready, pulling up, unloaded. And the principal's like, what the fuck is going on here? I said, oh, this is our prep rally for homecoming. And I don't know why I ain't think to tell nobody. But and she called me in her office and was like, she said something. She's like, but that's good initiative and we gonna allow it. We'll go ahead and do it. Fine. But if this happens again, you need to let me know. Call your parents. I'm like, child, what you gonna tell Mama and Papa Nyambi? Too many black music? You don't want to tell them that. And I remember that pep rally where the principals looked like they were going to lose their mind. So the whole WJLB unloaded on our football field. They playing all types of rap, hip hop, house music, work. And they were just fascinated by us. They was like, what the fuck is this? All that to being said, I've always been a revolutionary. I don't give a fuck, right? You know, I've always been like that. And I've had parents who've given me, and also that to say, my parents have given me independence, right? I come from a 2-parent household who both sincerely care about me, but it's never been the point where I was sheltered. Because I think a lot of times folks who are 2-family household get this identity that they're sheltered, they can't survive on their own, they don't know how to navigate. My parents provided a nice balance of both, where I was able to kind of thrive on my own, make my own mistakes, and live through those experiences. So I think about the snaps and like, that's little, right? But it's like, I got 2 parents. Why don't y'all just do this? Or why don't you just give it to me? It was that point of like, and it got to a point where my parents got better jobs. We all got comfortable. And there's still certain stuff there, but like, child, well, you better get a job. Where I'm like, it's just me. It's just me.
It's just you.
Y'all can't scrounge up $20. Like,
it's crazy, right?
But I think they did that intentionally, right? For me to appreciate and not to be spoiled and to understand, like, you know, everything I have is a privilege that's been given, and it needs to be respected. So, but same for college. They always supported college. They never explicitly said they couldn't afford it. I remember the first blow I got into a few state schools, but I got into University of Michigan, which was my dream school, and I got in. And then I got into another school that offered me a really good scholarship program. And I remember my parents like, I know you really want to go to University of Michigan. I know you said you would take a loan. Like, it was very, because I went to my parents like, oh, I don't care. I'm going to take out a loan. Child, I don't even know how to fill out a loan paper. To the point, I remember my father like going to the financial aid, like, what could we do? And learning like, oh shit, they literally about to make her take like a mortgage out, or you know, whatever it is going to be to pay for this. I think that's what he went like, I don't know if this shit's right. I think he had this even dichotomy like, child, we doing all this for the hope that she graduate in 4 years. Well, what if you know, they ain't telling me this, but I think in their head they was like, well, what if she don't graduate?
Yeah.
You know, should we invest this in something else? And I remember my mother was more adamant. My mother has always been straight no chaser. She was like, I know you want to go to University of Michigan, but they're not offering you no money, and you don't need to go there. So that was kind of another reason where I figured it out, right? Because college not cheap, right?
No, it's not.
Anywhere between $10,000 to $60,000 a semester.
Right.
That ain't nothing to, you know, play with. So I do remember having that come to Jesus. And I didn't go to University of Michigan. I went to the other school, and it took, I'm sure in our next episode we'll talk about that and processing that. And I was very upset about that. And, you know, again, I think everything happens for a reason. But again, same conversation I think your mom had with you. It just was different. Right. So they never explicitly was like, no, we can't afford that. Right. My parents were more at the point where they maybe could afford some of it.
Right.
Does that make sense? Like, you know, they could take care of my books, maybe like housing, but we can't couple that with student fees, tuition, like, you know, a car. Like, wait a minute. Wait, we can give a little piece of, we can help you with it, but it was never the point where some of our, you know, mainstream folks where the parent can just write a check. Right. So again, having that experience and knowing that you still had to work, it was just something different. I don't know. Did I touch on everything there?
Yeah, you touched on it, but yeah, it also reminded me of like the thing I was going through, because like, so we having this conversation, and like, you know, we were standing in a house that was in my pop's name. My mom's name wasn't even on the deed or whatever. So you know, she's, you know, after he had left and went down south, we're standing there and we're still trying to keep the upkeep of the house.
Yeah.
And things of that sort. And I remember that we needed a new roof, so much so that like
stuff was leaking and
like
coming through, rotting,
leaking, all types of shit. Right. Yeah. Like we had Home Depot buckets, pots and pans and shit like that. So I remember like we having like this real big blowout. Like, I don't want to work for, you know, the assembly line, and her being like, well, look at this motherfucking roof. Yeah. Like,
how are we supposed to pay for it?
If I can't get this damn roof fixed,
we won't have nowhere to live.
How the fuck we gonna pay for your ass to go to school? Yeah. So like that whole situation. Yeah. So, you know, with all that being said, like, what do you think is some of the like biggest lessons learned during that whole experience in high school?
So from the kid perspective, or I guess
from your perspective,
it's all a blip. Like, it's all a blip, and go all out. Right? Like, just really go all out. And I know that's hard to say, but I think about the chance I took with being like, oh yeah, I'll do that. But I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. This is what I'm going to do. Right? So just go all out and just truly be in the moment and appreciate, I don't know. Like, don't you just remember those afternoons where all you had to do is come home and go to school, like before you had to get a job, right? And just appreciate those moments. Or also that almost that blindedness to not, that ignorance to not knowing what's going on. I feel like every brown person, low social economic person have a moment where they realize, shit, I'm brown, or shit, I'm poor. Right? So enjoy those times where you don't have it, because I think that's the privilege I had of being in a 2-parent household. So I'm sure there was times where things were difficult, but because it was both of them, it's easier to distract the child. Right? Yeah. Like, well, if, you know, if mom over there trying to count these 2 pennies together, daddy can go distract you by taking you to the park, right? Compared to if you're just a single parent and you got to do all this alone. Doing that. My other advice is don't peak.
Yeah, I got that written down. Like, don't peak in high school.
Don't peak in don't peak in anything. Any school related function. Don't peak. Right. And if you think it's something going to be the end of the world, most likely it won't be. Right. It's a turning point. It's time for a pivot.
Yeah, because truthfully, I think about the dudes that, like the star football players, was always in the newspaper.
You almost don't want that.
Exactly. So in the newspaper, they go to the big name schools, the Michigans, the university.
And then what happened though?
And then they get into some fuck shit, and they right back at the crib, and only thing they really talk about when you have interactions with them is how much of a beast they was in high school.
Yeah.
And I'm being like, bro, that was like 10, 15 years ago.
Absolutely. Like, even I think some people be like, oh, it's student council president. That ain't peaking, honey. That ain't what we talking about. That was strategic, right? You know, we talking about like the other stuff when folks were like, this is what it's like. I even think about academically, right? To some of the folks who peak and have nowhere else to go after that. There's something to that. And having conversations with your kids about not peaking and having, I think kids, even if they're reflecting back, they're a lot more resilient than y'all think they are, and you can have a lot more real talk with them than you think.
Yeah.
So parents, especially high school, middle school might be a little early, but I encourage that too. It's to have real talk with these kids.
Yeah, I think so.
And if you're not comfortable with having real talk, employ a friend, a trusted auntie, auntie, uncle, cousin to have real talk with them about everything, from mental health to sex to school, like basic shit, like asking folks like, do you know how to study? Like, do you know how to learn?
Right. Do you know how to manage your time?
Like, do you know how to do this? And not even do you. This is how do you?
Right.
It's not even, yeah, you're right. I won't even ask, how is it? Like, show me. What does this look like? So I think that's something I wish I had a little younger.
Yeah.
To do it.
The other things I got is like you can always turn the corner and use it as a topic for your essay.
Yes. Everything can be for your essay.
Everything that goes on in your life can be used for your essay.
There is a college out for everybody.
Yeah.
Even if you bomb, as long as you got a high school diploma, you can get into someone's college. Now, you might not be able to get into Harvard, but there is somebody's college that you can pivot and get to Harvard.
Right.
So, and I think that's something I was told, especially coming from my school. So college was always a big thing. They had like a 90% college, like a substance rate. Like that was a huge thing. And everyone's always like, am I going to get in? It's not, you going to get in somewhere. Like it might not be the one you want to go to. Like, and I'll speak to that tomorrow in navigating through that. But there is a college, trade school. There's something for everybody. And there's something for everyone's pockets too.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is like utilizing your resources. So with me being in the school I was at, in the hood I was at, you know, it was something called the empowerment zone. So there's like the poorest of the poor.
Yeah.
Nero. It was.
Yeah.
It was the poorest of the poor of the neighborhood in Detroit. It was the roughest, and they had like different.
Yeah. It's a lot of that stuff. You're
resources that I could have used that I didn't use.
Yeah.
And like people would tell me about that, or I had mentors or different football coaches that tell me about that shit, and I'm like, man,
I didn't know.
Or they told me, and it's like, I ain't going.
Yeah. So as the parent, so even if you working and you don't got time, you need to assign that to your kid, especially with the age of social media and Google, right? You need to assign to your kid, go talk to somebody, go figure this out and utilize those resources, because the others, the colonizers, even at my school where people were pretty decent, using all types of Cesar Chavez, Rosa Parks scholarships. And I'm like, Dustin, you don't need no help. Talking about I'm a first generation college student too. Yo, daddy owned 20 gas stations.
Right.
Wait a minute, Dustin. How Dustin win a scholarship?
Right.
Or a part of this club that then leads to, you know, expedited admission to different universities, right? So I think of like the Upward Bound programs and, you know, that gets you lined up to go to these, that aligns you to a university already.
Exactly.
That you just basically show up.
That's right. Because that was the thing. Like, because I remember that, like, my homeboy got into this program where his ass took classes during the summertime.
Yeah.
And if he did good enough, he'll get admitted to that school.
Yeah. Without doing a formal application process.
With no process, nothing like that. He got there, took 3 classes, got all A's on them because summer's classes ain't really that about shit anyway.
Or they at least have the instructors there to help break it down. Right. It's a different type of instructor there.
So he ended up getting a 4.0 coming into his freshman semester.
Setting a good foundation. Oh right. My God, we'll talk about it tomorrow. So, yeah, do those things. And if you don't have time to do it, put them lazy ass kids to work, especially with social media and these phones. Have them do it and take advantage of those types of things.
What type of things, you know, since we've been talking about, like, what type of things you are taking from this experience that you would rather change or add to the future of our potential kids?
I think the opportunity, and I think that's why I'm with you, to embrace my creative side. Mm-hmm. So I think it's more in my nature to be more strategic thinking, more like logistical operations, like even to the work I'm doing today. That's very much my strength, but I don't think I was ever pushed to explore the other side of me. I think one time I applied this was a middle school, I think. High school, I'm trying to remember. I applied for the drama club and applied to audition. It was like a lead role, and I almost made it. Right, so they had the real person. What is it? The stand-in.
Yeah.
And then me.
Yeah.
You know, and thinking about it, like that's pretty damn good, right? It wasn't like 3 people just applied and it was like, oh, you didn't make it. It's like it was like 40 people who applied for this role. And like that's where I failed, because the thing is, if that person didn't happen, like then I could jump in, right? You know, that's why they have to do it, just in case someone gets sick or something. Like, because you know they do the main person, then the set in, and then they have like one, like I forgot what that third place is called, and that was me. But like I didn't have to do like I didn't qualify, and I just think what would happen if I was encouraged to push to go explore that muscle more. Or like playing an instrument. Again, I remember being in like band, and you know you had to learn how to play basic thing, like a few keys on the piano, and I just never. I guess it just didn't spark joy for me. But if someone be like, you need to try that again. What does that mean? Like, or think of my parents. I'm sure my parents was like, okay, you didn't make it. Do you like it? Okay, cool. Let's move on. But even if they said, well, you didn't make it this time, why don't you go back? Because I think there was the option to be in the chorus. I said, I ain't about to do all this practice to sit in the chorus. Right. Imagine. Could y'all imagine me as an actor? Or no? I don't know. I don't know if I followed the script enough.
You know, you got a good monologue.
But yeah, that's my personal journey. I don't know if I can follow someone else's, you know, their thoughts. It's not about me. So that's what I would encourage, to try to get your child, have a nice balance of the arts.
Yeah. One thing I would add is like, so yeah, my mother worked afternoons, but she still could have had the opportunity to pop the fuck up.
Yeah.
During the day.
Pop ups.
Ask questions.
For your kid and them teachers to know you ain't for the bullshit.
Exactly.
Both, right? So for the kid to know I'm not here to play with you, and also for those teachers and them administrators to know, oh, Miss So-and-so will roll through here.
Right.
At any moment. So if something pops off with my child, you better come correct.
Just know I'm here.
Because they know the parents who come and don't participate.
Right.
I agree. Like if you could do PTA and all that, do that. But if you can't, just do pop-up visits.
Right.
Just pop up. I totally agree. That's a good one.
That shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I just seeing what's going on here.
Yeah. Just seeing what's happening.
Yeah.
Can I have a meeting with the principal? Thank you. Just to see what your philosophy. I completely agree.
Yeah.
And as we have kids, I think it's a lot more pop-up and seeing what's going on.
Yeah. And just saying, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on in here?
What are you doing? Anything else? And then like other tips for, you know, potential high schoolers or parents that we can, you know, for like
hang in there.
Success.
Hang in there. It takes a whole tribe. It takes a whole tribe, a village. I think what I said before. Have real talk with your kids. Yeah. And if you can't have real talk, find somebody to have real talk. Because I know how crazy and wild and fast and omish all them words we were at our age. And that was decades ago. So I only can imagine with the age of social media, phone, Wi-Fi, what the kids is into now.
I would say it's even harder. Shit.
Yeah, that's what, so you're gonna have to work through whatever you having and have straight up conversations with them about everything. No matter how scared you may be, do it. And don't be holding on to that old school shit. Like, I can't talk to my kid. They should have respect. Don't think nothing assumed. Go in there completely explicit.
Right. I would say for like students, master time management, because it'll help you later on if you do decide to go. I think in life, mastering time management at an early age, is a life skill that you will use for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. That was more parent perspective. I mean, I think trying to get from the kid perspective. Yeah. I mean, it's not so much like it's not. Hang in there. Yeah. That's my advice to them. Hang in there. It gets better, I promise. Yeah. It gets so much better.
You know, the cliche stuff. Be yourself.
Yeah, but it gets so much better. I really wish I had cousins tell me, like, this here ain't shit. Like,
this ain't nothing.
You think this is.
You think this is it?
But this ain't shit.
Wait till your ass get to college.
Wait till you get to college. Wait till you get out of college. Wait till, like, just hang in there. Right. And yeah, people going to be on fuck shit and all that.
Yeah. And then, you know, I guess the other thing is the power of block button. You know.
Block it.
Block they ass.
Yeah.
You got an internet bully, block that motherfucker.
Block them. Yeah, I think that's the difference. When we had bullies, it necessarily wasn't the block. Do people still bully people in person?
Physically bully? I don't know. Shit.
So I think that's more of a thing when we were growing up.
I had a group of Bloods break my damn cello. I had to fight them niggas.
Oh my God. But it's something to the social media bullying.
Yeah.
And I know that's hard to say, but you got to block them because they're miserable. They're really miserable.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Well, anything else? Final thoughts?
Nope. Did we do another 2 hour?
Yep. Well, as always, to submit your Black Love story, go to blacklovematters.com. To submit a question for Kitchen Table Talk, shoot us an email at blacklovematters@gmail.com. To leave us a comment about anything we talked about, head on over to that website. We also got that voicemail, and we got those emails. That voicemail is at 508-784-1111. That's 508-784-1111. Talk to y'all later. And remember, love is ever evolving.
Peace.
Peace.